mind that like a deep delve
They're
into.
very
Right,
lovely.
I would like you to pick your Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana to start. Whether you would like to do a bolster one, Tracy. I actually think we might get some breakthroughs today. Yeah. If you want to make it supported with blocks, that is a nice thing. If you want to make it worse, put your feet on top of a block. And
I quite like that.
do you then? Yeah. Yeah, like a double block, like Lynn's
Raised
doing.
feet.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you put your feet together on top of the blocks, which gives you more height to your Baddha Konasana.
Double block.
Well, like Lynn, sort of like that, like Kay's. So you've got
Oh,
one
like
block per foot. So, and then it just lets you, yeah, soles of the feet on these wide, and you can pick your intensity level basically, which is quite nice. And you can be like, oh, we'll just sort of have a little moment to see what's going on in the bod, see what's happening, see what the resistance levels are like. I love that Miko is literally taking over your mat now. There is no shame in that cat. Already got cramp. Oh, that's good, Donna. Good start. If it's too much, go feet to floor. That's fine. And we'll invite a little bit of softness into the body, a little bit of calmness into the breath. And sometimes the inner thighs themselves, or even that sort of bit where the inner thighs become the inner knees, sometimes it's very tight here. So see if you can either go into that place, sort of like visualize it, feel it, sense it, and see if that helps you just take the breath into the space and let things soften a little bit more. Or it might be that you need to draw back away from it and just sort of let your body release towards the ground, so that it's less of a spotlight focus and more of a general awareness of the body. And let's explore some deeper breaths, some slower breaths, and see if that can help things. Surrendering into that exhalation a little bit more. We'll take just 5 more breaths. The last breath, the last exhalation, to gently draw your knees together. And then I want you to decide if you want to do this with the blocks set up as it is, if you want to take the blocks away, or if you want to keep the blocks under the outer thighs. We're going to kind of do some moving Baddha Konasanas, and you might have to fiddle your feet a little bit here. So we're going to sort of start to open and close the knees. And if you can, keep part of your feet connected the whole time through this movement. So as you sort of drop open, and again, if it's on top of the blocks, they might get annoying. You might want to take them away, but it might work for you. So little slow motion kind of butterfly movement here. Just seeing how creaky they are. Like an opening door that needs oiling, you know? How creaky are your legs? How creaky are your hips? And then so just 2 more of those. Your knees are going to stay open on your last one. And we're going to pick your feet up. Now, you know, I said you don't need a strap, right? If you can't reach your ankle in a floating Baddha Konasana, I'll pass you a strap. Anyone for a strap? Yes, straight, sorry. This is the arm length slash. All right. Okay, good. So you can do that thing where you pull on your ankles, or even if you want to hold your toes, if that's better for you, and you can drive the knees open from that arm resistance. And if you feel that you can just wiggle your spine a little bit longer along the ground, almost like you're doing this in seated and you're trying to push your knees towards the ground, just kind of check in with how easy, how difficult that is. And if you want to, you can stay. If you want to do something a little bit harder, you're going to keep your feet as they are, but take your hands away, pushing your feet towards each other. Arms can go beside you, or you can even hold opposite elbow and go for that sort of lengthened, your feet together. Oh, joyful. That's a spicy nicey, isn't it? How is it, Trace? Awful.
It's awful for me too, Trace.
It's the most awful for Trace. Good, good, good. A little bit of spicy nicey. So it will essentially make your knees close in a little bit more because you're pressing the feet together. We'll go 5 more seconds here, which is a Hannah 5 seconds. So it's that 5, 4, 3, 2. And I want you to lower your feet back down to the blocks or the floor and then rest in Baddha Konasana as you land them just for a few seconds and see if they can re-soften or not at all. You're going to walk like John Wayne after this class, I'll tell you. Good. And then when you're ready, let's slowly bring the knees together. Let's hug the knees to the chest and have a little rest here. And I'll show you this next one. It's quite specific to the position we want the leg to be in. What I want us to do is not have external rotation. Okay, so let me just clarify what I mean. So we're going to do this one leg at a time. External rotation would mean me bringing the foot in and the knee out. So I'd actually be spinning in the hip socket. That's not what I want us to do at first. I want us to go for this sort of abduction movement where I take the leg away. Does that make sense? So I haven't spun the femur. So you're going to create some resistance either at the side of the knee or at the side of the thigh with your hand. So my hand's trying to push my leg to center, but I'm going to push open and then relax it slightly to come back in. I want us to do 10 of them. So try not to roll as you do this. Try not to move your pelvis. The other leg can kind of ground you there. And does that make sense? So you're pushing with the hand, you're pushing the leg in, and then obviously as you come back, the leg just gets pushed back slightly. So let's start with whichever leg you want, which is your best one. The other foot on the floor or the other foot floating, whatever feels better. Find outer knee or outer thigh. Push like 10%, 20%, 90%, however much you want to, as you let the knee open as far as you can, maintaining that effort and then bringing it back in. So try and take a good 5 seconds to push out. And what you'll feel is that there's a limit to how far that leg will go. And it should be joyful on that outer leg. Isn't it joyful? Its tendency is going to be to want to sort of rotate into external rotation, but we want it to be a bit of an outer thigh experience here. Are we feeling joy? Okay. How is it, Trace?
Really.
Yeah. Is it too? So obviously just manage the amount. It can be like literally 5%. You can be like very, very little resistance as you do that. Okay, I'm not counting. So you want to do obviously. Did I say 10? Did I say 10? I said 10, didn't I? 10. I was going to make you do this as doubles, but it's much more interesting to do than the singles. So 10 one leg, 10 the other leg, obviously, because it will get left out. How's the warmth, guys? Are you feeling it? Nikki is the. Do you know what, Nikki? I bought the most intense pair of thermal gloves the other day and I thought of you. And I was like, Nikki, you like these? They made my hands sweat instantly, instantly. I'll let you borrow them. I'll bring them into yoga. Okay, cool. Can I just? Yeah. Is anyone counting? No. Yeah. Kay always counts, don't you, Kay? On the 10th. She's on her 10th. There you go. There you go. There you go. So when you're on your 10th, have a little shake out, hug in, or whatever you need as a releasey. As a release. More than that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. Okay. So now, without resistance, now we are going to find rotation. Okay. So we've done these before. I'm going to have my, whichever was your first leg, the other knee, just maybe sliding that foot forward so it's out of the way a little bit. So I'm going to find the sort of like a David Beckham ball kick each way. Yeah, so I'm going to go internal and external rotation. We're going to do 10 of them. And then when we've done 10, you're going to pick, if you just want to do the ankle cross in your sort of figure of 4, what tends to happen when you do this is your hip will, or your pelvis will tilt slightly. So I just want you to make sure your pelvis is level. That might be enough. If you're very, very tight in the hip, you might decide to put the foot behind the leg or even drop the foot to the ground. If you've got more space, we can go for the deeper stretch there. Okay, so pick first leg, whichever one you first did that resistance work on. And just think about slow motion, kicking a football with inner foot and then outer foot. If you bring your hands onto your hip bones, you'll feel if your pelvis is doing the work, or if it's actually your thigh bone that's doing it. And we want to try and create that engagement in the leg, like we're wearing a heavy boot, so that it isn't a flapping fish movement. It's from the thigh. You feel that? You also see how much your ankle wants to join in and your foot does weird stuff. Do your counting, because we know I can't. You've got a favourite direction? In or out? In. Everyone has a favourite direction. And then obviously you'll do 10 and then you'll cross the ankle either onto the knee, or if you just want to drop it to the floor to a half Baddha Konasana, or Trace, obviously use your bolster in whatever you feel that you want to. Now, check that the hip of the leg you've crossed over hasn't sort of like dropped down. If you feel a stretch here, I want you to stay. If you want to feel more of a stretch, you're going to push your foot that's crossing over the knee into the knee. So like you're trying to push the knee away, and then lift the knee with that pushing resistance. So it's like your foot is trying to push your leg to the ground, but your leg's trying to lift in towards your chest. You decide how strong you want to make that. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? I can't decide if that's a yawn or a face of doom, Nikki. Okay. And then as you maintain that resistance, how close can you get the shin to your chest of that floating leg, but keep some resistance up? It's intense, isn't it? Yeah, but you pick how intense it is. I can't tell. You could be doing a 1 out of 10 and just grimacing, or you could be doing like 90% and like going, oh, that's it. That's good. That's good. Okay, fabulous. Couple more breaths. It's big, isn't it? It's big. You're up 80 things after this. And then we'll gently release. We'll set that down. And then you're going to change sides. So other leg, you're going to just draw the knee sort of level with the hip, 90-degree-ish angle. If your other foot's, if your other knee's in the way, just slide it forwards, and you're going to do your David Beckham. Does he still play football? I don't even know the name of another footballer apart from Wayne Rooney. Isn't that bad? He doesn't play football. Oh, hang on. There's someone Harry, isn't there? Harry, someone, the famous one. Is it Harry?
Oh, Harry Kane, well done.
Thank you.
You must know Grealish is the league.
Grealish. Oh, he's the one with the hairband.
Who?
Yeah.
Ah.
I know him because all the kids fancy him. Yeah. Oh my God, I know 4 footballers. He's got curtains, but you're not allowed to call them curtains now because curtains aren't cool anymore. Has he got good ties? You know what we'll be Googling after this, don't you? Okay.
There's John Terry.
Oh, I don't know him. He sounds like a chocolate orange.
Yeah, it's from Chelsea.
Right.
We've done more than 10.
Okay, right, then you can do the crossed ankle or the Badakanasa in the leg. You'll find the resistance, and then if you're picking up the ground leg and doing like a floating resistance, you can, but just sort of like maintain a little bit of work, a little bit of effort, pelvis stays level, and it just like it might surprise you how not far it goes with this resistance, but it might give way a little bit as you find it. Do a few more breaths. These are hard, aren't they?
Oh.
But it's like you're not really doing anything. So that's why it's great. Okay, amazing. And then you're going to just release. You can take a little hug in, a little roll around. What actually does feel quite nice after that intense hip work, if you want to, is a few pelvic tilts or just some rolling bridges, just to sort of free up the spine a little bit. Just segmenting that spine as you go through a couple of rounds of that. How's the heat? Is it tasty? Okay. Then we'll take our time to bring the knees to the chest. We will take our time to have a little roll to come all the way up to seated. Good. And blocks are quite useful here to use as crutches, which I'll just show you this. So I'm going to just place the blocks just in front of the knees. I'll take it from the side actually. It's going to be a little bit of a toe stretch and it might be that you can't get your bum all the way down to your heels. I'm going to move the blocks and I'm going to rock back either just onto tiptoes. I'm not very good at a squat at that level, or I'm going to come here. So I'm going to rock down into knees touching, and then I'm going to rock back into a squat. Now, this is a knees together version, which might be better for you, or you can do the sort of like more classic squat, sort of like where the knees are wider, and then you can drop back on your bum like this. My knees click when I do that one. So you can try both or one or none. If you don't need the crutches, don't use them, but they can help just as you find this movement. So it's what?
Always flip the other way.
Is it backwards? Is it backwards?
Mm.
What's it?
What is happening?
Oh, yeah, because I'm on that side.
Yeah.
And Lynn's on this side.
Oh, yeah, never noticed that.
I don't think it normally does that though.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe I flipped it. Oh, well, more exciting.
It's
I
clever.
think it
I
does.
think it's when
Right.
they left it now right.
Okay. Okay, so tiptoes to heel drop, which is your squat, and then to knees down. The slower you go, so I want your knees to touch the ground as you tuck the toes, and then I want your heels to touch the ground as you drop back.
Keeping your bum on your heels though.
If some people can and I can't, so you might have to lift your bum up away from your heels to land them down. Does that make sense? So the importance is don't look at Kay and Sam because they can squat with their heels down. But when you drop your heels back, you might have to lift your bum up just to get those heels down. Yes, like that.
Like that.
Like that. That's perfect. And how many? Should we do 10? It's the tens class, isn't it?
You always do 10, don't you?
Does it?
Not always, but it's a good number.
A great number, isn't it? Double digits. Do you remember that when you were a kid getting
Yeah.
10? It's quite exciting.
Phyllis always does the lucky extra one, 11.
Doesn't she?
She don't like the number 10, so she always does
She
it.
does 11. Well, feel free to do 11
that's-
if you want to. If you
No,
want
that's
to
just
do
Phil.
11. Yeah. Good stuff. We will finish on the knees and you'll just come into hands and knees where we
Is
probably.
this working on ankles?
It is working on
Yeah.
ankles, yes,
Thank you.
very, very much so, yeah, it's working into that lower leg.
Little big toe that I've got on my.
Oh, no, I'm really, really sorry. Okay, then, yeah, so when you've come out from it, you can just sort of like crawl yourself into an all fours. And then I want us to try and find that same thing where we had our hand against resistance. We obviously are not going to use our hand because we need it for balance. Now, what happens here is we take a slightly wider knee stance. So, and then we separate the feet to as wide as the knees rather than have a sort of like toes together. We have the feet in line with the knees. I want you to hover your right knee. So we slightly lean, we'll do this together, slightly, the weight will go into the left, but then I want you to lean the weight back into the right as the knee hovers, foot up as well, if you can. Okay, and we're going to open and close that knee. They call this fire hydrant or peeing dog, but you have to lean into that right side as it lifts to stop you tipping to the left. Can you feel that? It shouldn't open very far. Don't lead with the knee. Be like if you were going to kick the wall, you'd kick the wall with your knee and your foot. That's it, Donna. Isn't it crampy? Isn't it crampy? Amazing. We'll do. Okay, watch that left elbow doesn't bend. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do too many of these without feeling like quite intense. Okay, then as you bring that knee out to the side, we're going to turn the foot down like a hip cart and step the foot to the side in what I call the TV screen pose. So you might need to grab it to do this. So it's just going to come out to the side as you come into that. If you're quite tight in the hip, you can have the foot much further forward than the knee. But if you're okay, have it level with the kneeling knee. We're going to come up, standing, and then this is when you can sort of like have a little fiddle. Can you turn your pelvis forwards towards me and have that knee open? Okay. I want you to see, can you reach the back of the leg with your hand? It can be mid-thigh, it can be by the knee, depending on how long it is. And I want you to push the leg against the hand until you have some sensation in that leg. I know these are awful for you, Trace, but they might be okay for you as well. They might be the work your hip needs. Can you feel that resistance? Yeah. So do you push to 10% or do you push to 90%? Does it make you feel a bit sick? A little bit sick. Okay, good. It's going to make you feel sickling. Okay, so I want you to have that sense that you're not rolling to the little toe edge to do this. You're doing this from the side. And I want you to ground down through your big toe mound in your foot. Keep that pushing resistance of the leg as you take the arms away. And we're going to come into just a little side bend. Don't worry about touching the floor. We don't need to. Keep that knee opening. And then wherever your arm lands, it can go behind the leg or in front of the leg as you come the other way. So what happens is you change the weight between the two legs, but I want you to keep your bent knee leg grounded as you shift. A little bit of falling leaves again, isn't it? Did you like our falling leaves?
Oh,
last
I
one?
absolutely sense.
Isn't it beautiful? Donna Ashworth, just like her. Good. So keep the sense of that knee opening, and it should feel like you're both stamping the foot down and opening the knee out. Yeah. Okay, good. We'll do one more. As you come back to center from that side reach, we're going to raise the arms up. Keeping the leg there, we're going to come back down into all fours. Okay, and then we're going to pick up the foot and sort of hip car it all the way back round and down. If you need a little rest off your hands, take one. If you want to have a little releasing downward dog. When is downward dog a release? Oh dear, and have a little foot pedal out if you're doing that, because the legs might feel a little bit cramped up. Are we warm now, guys?
We're warm.
Are we warm?
We're warm.
Definitely warm.
And do we want the top heater off? Yeah, okay, good. And then when you're ready, you're going to come back to your hands and knees. We're going to take that slightly wider base, hands on blocks if it's easier, nicking one off the wrists, it's fine. Slightly wider knee base, and then the other leg is going to start to do that fire hydrant lift. So knee and foot level, no rotation in that leg. Just that outer hip, doing like, oh look, I've been in control here. I can switch it up. It's probably one of those things that radiates heat for the next like 20 minutes or whatever. I need to get under it. Don't lean to the right, lean almost to the left, lean to the side of the leg you're lifting. Good. We're doing 10, aren't we?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you should feel like you're basically an excellent table. You don't want to move or tilt your table stuff off of you, which is really good. So neither internally nor externally rotated leg, a completely neutral hip. On your last one, you keep the leg hovering and you turn the foot forward and the knee open to step into TV screen pose. That is a name. And then you can come up. When you come up to sort of kneelie lunge, turn your pelvis towards me. That's it. And see if that foot needs to come forwards or if you can in line with the knee. Hand comes behind the leg. And you're just going to find that pushing resistance. So we want to do a couple of different things here. As you push the hand to the leg to the hand, you should feel the outer hip go, wow. Yeah. You're not rolling the ankle. You're not rolling to the little toe edge. You're grounding down through the whole foot. You're going to ground down through the big toe mound. And you can actually push a little bit of weight, a little bit of force through the foot and as you open the knee. And it almost makes your leg feel like it's not part of you, doesn't it? It's like really, really
I wish it
intense.
wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, when you've done just a little bit longer finding that, and again, it can be a 10% push, it can be 90%. I bet the difference is epic, Trace, between these two.
Oh, good.
Different body hold. Yeah. Okay. Hold that intention as you slowly take the hands away, and then you can find that wide open one. Want to keep the leg both opening and pushing down as you lean away. So it might not be such a big reach as, you know, normal when we do this, because we're quite stable in the pelvis here. And then as you come over, you're going to find that either inside or outside of the leg, just wherever your arm happens to go. Okay, good. When we lean away, we tend to sort of like destabilize that standing foot a little bit. So that's where we want to kind of like connect into, like it's planted. Like it's just been planted in the ground, rooted and connected. Glorious. I haven't counted these. I think 10 was too many. We won't be doing 10 of these. Sam is having a great time, aren't you? All his favourite things. Yeah.
Yes.
That-
That's
nothing.
That's a gem, that is.
Is it?
It looks it from behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Special place.
There's a special place. Yeah. So let's say last one, and then your arms can reach up. You're going to take that hinge forwards as you come back into all fours. We're going to plant the hands to lift the back foot. And if you're coming into downward dog, you can land that knee, tuck the toes, come in if you're taking a rest pose, or wrist all right in downward dog, Nikki, is it?
I just thought I'd try.
Try it. Yeah. A thing you can do is block hands in downward dog. That's much lighter on the wrist. So sort of, if you want to, put your hands on the blocks. So just see, we won't be here for very long. We'll take a few breaths. And if you want to do vinyasa, do one, because you know it's Wednesday, isn't it? You can come forward, plank, chaturanga, up dog if you want to. Or you can just be like, no, you're all right. Depends what we're going to do next. Depends what we're going to do next. Okay, good. We are going to meet back up in downward dog, or all fours, to step our right foot forward into a lunge. So if you're flowing, flow. If you're resting, no time for rest. Our right foot is going to step forwards, right? And then we're going to either widen the step of the right foot just a little tiny bit, just not to the outside of the hand, but just a little bit wider towards the inside of the hand. We're going to pivot to land our left heel down. Obviously, Trace, take your time here. And then I'm going to find the back of that leg again first with the right hand. Make sure that left heel's landed, okay? And then I'm going to bring the left hand onto the hip. Keep pushing that hand against the leg and turn open into that side angle pose there. So you should, you might be leaning, you are leaning a little forwards towards me with your chest. And you're going to find that resistance in the leg there. How's that feel? All right, yeah. And we're gonna hold this just for a few breaths. Oh my God, I've got cramp already. Don't push that hard. Okay. I want you to keep that sense of it pushing and the leg grounding as you take the hand away and open to warrior two, but have just a little bit more brain, a little bit more connection, a little bit more awareness in that leg. So you've got that sense that it's pushing open. Can you feel that? It will feel front leg dominant today, but that's just for today. Okay, so we're going to take a couple of breaths. Okay. Probably should have warned you of this before we got here, but we're here now. Okay. Reach forwards and you're going to find Ardha Chandrasana, and you might need to reach forward and find a block. You're going to bring the hand ahead and you're going to raise the back leg, but hopefully still with a sense that you're in that outer side of that standing leg. The block can move slightly open to the right so that you find that balance there. Oh my God, this is great, isn't it? And you're stabilizing. Yeah. How's it, Chase? Probably the best one you've ever done. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. Couple more breaths. This is really sturdy, guys. I'm very, very impressed. Okay. And then instead of sort of going back down into our lunge, I just want you to lift your hand, turn your chest step to the front of your mat. How was that? Is your leg on fire? This leg is on fire. Okay, okay, all right. All right, okay. And then there's going to be one of these weird things that looks a bit weird, but we're just going to go for it. Okay, so I still want you to work with that same leg. Okay, so that same leg. Just going to go in my little gap here. That's it, thank you. So the same leg that was forward, I'm going to take a much, much, much shorter staggered stance here. So it's like a little mini staggered stance. I'm going to hinge forwards and find my hand to the outside of that leg, right? And what I want to do is I'm going to bend it and straighten it to lift the back foot. So I'm going to bend it and I'm going to straighten it to lift the back foot. And I want you to be pushing the leg into the hand. And then when you've got that connection, I'm going to try and keep that push of the hand as I turn the back leg. Whoa. Yeah. So it is like an Ardha Chandrasana with that hand push, turning the chest back to come back to that staggered stance. You might fall over like I did. That would be good, wouldn't it? So, are you ready? Shorter staggered stance. That right leg is right leg, isn't it? Yeah, right leg forward, left leg back. Hinging forwards until you can find outer thigh, knee, or wherever your arm tends to reach. Pushing into that, bending the knee a little more, keep the back foot down for now, and then straighten the leg as you rock back. Okay, so find that movement first. I didn't do that straight away. So just bending and then straightening. If you want to start to sort of like lift the back foot as you straighten and lower as you bend, doesn't that feel weird? But sturdy, yeah? That can be it. That can be it. If you're all right.
Yeah.
Keep the push. Keep pushing your hand. Okay, if you feel you can do some sort of a nod towards Ardha Chandrasana, you can start to turn the chest and you can just see. You see how wobbly wibbly that leg wants to be? Yeah, it is quite an unstable little leg. Any amount of breaths is good here. See, everyone, see, it's because I showed you. You should fall over.
We thought that that's what we should
That's
do.
what you thought you should do. That's it. So technically you're doing it right. But it is kind of like weird. It is just to find that stability. And it's actually easier, like doing it a second time. And then when you're ready, you just take it like all the way back down again. Okay. Good. Well done. Okay. It's weird to have the hand against the leg, but it is the bit that we tend to lose in Ardha Chandrasana, is that outer hip connection. So it just keeps you into it. Okay. So still the same leg. This is the last thing. Okay. Before we do it all on the other side. Okay, so still the last thing is that standing leg. If it has that tendency, like mine does, for the knee and the arch of the ankle to sort of like collapse inward there, what we're going to do is we're going to just see if I can keep the leg there as I rotate the body around. I could keep the toe on the floor and turn, and rotate, but my job is to keep this completely sturdy, like I'm trying to dig the foot into the ground. Does that make sense? So what normally happens is when you rotate, your knee and your ankle will follow the movement of the pelvis. You're keeping the leg still and you're turning the pelvis around that solid root of the leg. Does that make sense? Yeah. A tiny movement, Trace, if you want. Does that make sense?
Can you show me again?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm having that sense that I'm pushing my knee into the hand.
Yeah.
But the thing that's moving is the back leg and the actual whole of the pelvis around the root of that thigh. So the thigh's still and the pelvis is revolving around. The knee can be a little bent, it probably wants to be in order to find that. And if you want to, you can keep the back foot down, or you can lift it up and float it like Lynn is. And it's a little bit like that music box movement, that ballerina movement. But finding that sturdy leg to rotate. Isn't that fun? Fun's a strong word, isn't it? It's a strong word. Amazing. But this is actually a really good way to find your balance rather than just thinking about your feet, thinking about your hip root. Okay, so when you've done and you've come back from that last one, just gently step the feet together towards the front of that. Let's take a big reach of the arms up so we can get a little bit of length, a little bit of reach. Take your time, come forwards for your standing forward fold. And either step to downward dog or jump or force or whatever you like, and just get a little bit of length here. Those of you that want to do a little vinyasa, you can come into a little bit of a vinyasa because we've got to do all of that on the second side. If you're like, I'm having a rest, so know what's coming. Valid. Okay. Sorry, Trace, has it gone crampy? Oh, sorry. It's all good. We're going to step the left foot forward just in your own time when you're ready. And even though it's not coming to the outside of the hand, we want that foot to be quite wide to the left. Okay, I want you to land the right heel down first, then take your left hand to the outside of that left thigh, push into that. So keep that foot rooted as you then bring your right hand to your hip and come into that side angle, pushing the leg there. So you're leaning your trunk a little towards me. You're finding that stability and that root of that front leg. You're waking up that outer hip space. Do you find one side's much, much weaker than the other, just out of interest? Yeah, it's really hard to connect. And the tendency here is to do that thing where you roll the ankle to the outside. You don't want to. I can be the block person, can't I? Everyone's got blocks. Nikki's got a cat. Fine. Right. So I want you to try and keep that intensity of that really grounded leg. As you take the hand away, you can come up to warrior two. It's just like a sort of exploratory moment of being more in the front leg than you are the back leg, and it should feel almost quite fatiguing to find that, because it's an area we don't tend to use very, very much. Okay, if you need to move your block, do it now. Otherwise, lean forwards, find your hand to your block, and find Ardha Chandrasana still with that sense that you're pushing. And again, it might be that your knee is slightly bent here to sort of still find that stability in that outer leg. We do have one leg that's a little more willing, probably the other one. Okay, your lifted leg now can really raise towards the ceiling. Like you want to touch my new heater, get a toasty little foot like a marshmallow. Toasted foot, lovely. It's still warm, isn't it? I've turned it off as well. It's still warm. Shavasana's going to be banging. Okay, don't overthink about this, but as you gently lift your hand, turn your chest, step to standing at the front. Oh. How are we? I told you, John Wayne class, isn't it? You wait till later. Right, okay. So same leg that you were just working, that shorter staggered stance. So that same leg forwards, other leg backwards. Leaning into that hinge to find your hands to that outer leg. Okay. So as you straighten the front knee, you can tiptoe the back leg. And as you bend the front knee, it can come back down with that heel. Okay, so it's just that weight shift as you come down. So I just want you to practice this. Now, what I've noticed in my time doing this is that I find it really hard to push into one leg. Like the other leg, you can feel quite a lot of strength in, or maybe this is your strong side, but we usually have one side that is just that little bit weaker and unwilling. So it might be that lifting the back leg is too much when you straighten into that front leg, and lowering it as you bend the knee is too much, but it will teach you perhaps some stuff about that standing leg. If you want to, you can turn that into an Ardha Chandrasana. So we can actually push into that hand and then turn the top hip open, turn the chest open. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. It's perfectly normal. It's like dominoes. This didn't even blink
Yeah.
there. That
Good
was
control.
I'm ready to catch it. That's what I'm saying.
in one leg
Just let me
stand.
drop.
Yeah, don't try and help him, whatever you do, okay?
Let's
Good,
do it.
good, good. Okay, good. You can, if you're done, you can just have a little moment, and then we'll find that music box thing now. So the standing knee is going to take a little bend. You're going to really drive into that, and there is that sense that you're trying to keep it stable. If you want to keep the back toe down for now, you're just rotating your pelvis and your chest and spinning on that back foot. And you might feel all sorts of weird things in your leg, like your hamstring's doing some work, your calf's doing some work, or that outer hip. If it feels like it's quite safe, you can float the back leg and just rotate the pelvis around the front leg. Trying to maintain the stability of the front leg, a little bit of a bend in that knee, and it might be taking you into Ardha Chandrasana, it might not, but I'll let you decide. How's the difference between our two legs? Quite intense. Yeah, obviously traced. And then when you are like, that'll do, just take that light step. Oh. Yeah. Okay. You might want to change direction so that you're on the long edge of the mat. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take the feet into our goddess distance. Okay, so toes are going to turn out. You know, like ballet, I want you to just plie down and plie up, but pushing those knees wide, like you're pushing into your hands. So how low can you go? Maintaining that push up. So on the way up, you have some resistance to that movement. Does that make sense? It's like ballet, isn't it? I've always wanted to do ballet. Do you want to add the arms in? Yes, you can. So what I'm interested in is how low can you go with that intention of opening, and can you maintain it on the way up so the way up has some resistance? And it should feel really quite hard work here, yeah? Okay, we're going to do a little hold at the bottom. So next time you're down, you can go into your maximum depth, or you can be just above it. And I want you to drive the knees apart here as you lift the chest and stick your butt out. Oh, no, that is amazingly impressive. Isn't it? That is ridiculous. I don't know how you're doing that, but it's like, do they call this horse dance in martial arts? Yeah, we're holding.
It's bloody horrible.
Yeah. Do you know what you're, do you know, apparently a 2-minute hold is impossible here, but we'll do about a minute. Yeah. Do the breathing.
How aggressive I told
30 seconds, 30 seconds. I told you, you're leaving this class with a different walk. All right, 10.
Or not.
9, yeah, or none. 7. Try not to dip your head forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push up.
Oh.
Hello. 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 Right, good. Have a little jiggly out. I know, right? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? Okay, final thing. Final thing of torture. Tracy is doing this to the wall. You're going to bring that wall space. If you're at home and you've got more wall space, okay, what I want you to do, we're doing this with blocks, so don't get too excited. Is you're going to place your feet into, it's a frog to the wall, okay? What you can do, Trace, is support the dodge leg, yeah, with 5 blocks, with all of the stuff, okay? But it just means the wall's going to take some weight. In the room, we're not going to do that, right? You can do danger height or safe height blocks. Danger height, safe height. So what you have to do is you have to kind of like guess your knee distance. Oh, it's not relaxed. It's actually quite hard work. The danger height, it's dangerous because there's not a large surface area. It's actually easier because your legs are higher. The lower height is harder. And already I have cramp. Danger height or night height, Trace use the wall. Does that make sense? We're just holding it. That's no, you can't do anything else. So you've got to guess your knee width apart. So go up 1, then. So that height that John is at is easiest and Chris at is easiest. But it's not easy, is it, Nikki?
No.
No, sorry, that's not easiest. That's hardest. This that Sam's at is easiest. So you want to have knee width, feet like that. Yeah.
I put them where I wanted them to be. What are you doing?
Because your feet aren't wide enough.
Yeah, my hips don't go that way.
Your hips do lie. Okay. How is that? Flex your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got-
So what I don't want to happen is I don't want your feet to come closer in than the knees. I want them to be as wide as the knees. So you actually resemble a pure frog. How is that? It's worse than you think it's going to be, isn't it? Heart cramp. We're not even doing anything. We're not even doing anything. It's a little bit birthy, but you know, we're just going to have a little hold here. What?
My left arse cheek.
It is deep in the butt, isn't it? How are you, Tracy? You okay there?
Yeah, I've got the wall. It's,
Tracy's having a lovely time.
yeah.
It's weirdly crampy, isn't
It's
it?
very comfy.
I know, right? I told you it's not nice. It looks deceptively nice, but it ain't. So right, it's going to get nice in a minute. It's gonna get nice. We're going to do another 30 seconds-ish here. Then we're going to do it with straps on Friday, and that's going to be mind-blowing. Thank you for that thought, Kay.
Sorry.
If anyone is not available
I'm
Friday,
Friday.
no.
I'll think of you all.
You will. Okay, nearly there. Are you ready? How do you want to come out of this? Do you want to like, I don't even know how you come out of this. You
Well,
can
need help.
just lift your feet, draw your knees together and take a little break and just, Trace, if you want to, you can do these to the wall as well. So, in the room, we're going to take some, or if you fancy doing more, okay, so we're going to take some quite deep twists to stretch out the outer butt cheek, and I want you to use your blocks as you need to. So I'm really going to take a tight cross of the thighs. So as I twist over to the opposite side, I want to try and seek out that stretch in the butt cheek. What you can do, Trace, if you want to scooch back a little bit, is you can find this here, which is quite nice on the dodge hip. Give it a go, see what happens. Okay, so listen, the leg you've got crossed over the top, you bring that to the other side. So Chris, go other side, that's it. Yeah, Donnie, you're fine. Now, with that leg that's on top, right, get that same side shoulder down. So if it's your right arm on top, so your right leg on top, I want you to get your right shoulder down on the floor, like press the whole of the arm down. Can you feel a stretch in the butt cheek? Yeah, and the side butt cheek. Has everyone got stretch, or do you need like a little bit more? Okay, cool. So obviously playing around with how high the knees are up to the side of the chest, or how sort of like much you push the top of your butt cheek or the side of your butt cheek towards the knee. So you're trying to lengthen your side waist more, drop that top hip down. That will add a little bit more intensity to it. I'm going to put a massive heater on. I'm loving a massive heater. And you want to kind of like, you know, like when we have that chewy bit of beef in the slow cooker, And not after 6 hours it tenderizes, you're just tenderizing. Right now. And you can just breathe into that while I'm getting blanket. Shoulder. All right, when you're ready, we're going to change sides gently. So just bring it back to center, undo that cross of the leg, recenter yourself, reset, and then take your other side over. Take your time to go into it. There is no rush. Search out your butt cheek stretch. Might have to look different on the second side in order to feel that stretch where you want to feel it. Some side you might need support. But really think of that opposite shoulder as drawing down, pressing down. Nothing doing anything. So it might be that it just slightly softens and you might enjoy that process of it softening. Look out a little more depth. And then your breasts on this side. And when you're ready to unravel, you're just going to find your way into Shavasana. So you can use blocks for support under your thighs if you want to straighten out the legs. You've got blankets distributed around you. And I can be warm my leg. You might even want to put warm my leg on your hip. Delivery program. These are the pictures. I don't know. Is it Matthew? Wait a minute. Put it on your pelvis. In case. You're just wherever you end up, be somewhere where your legs can forgive you, where they can release, relax, and soften down. And bring yourself into that sense of release of the exhalation and that connection between the exhalation the releasing of your jaw. So just let your face become a little more slack, relaxing the expression. And that exhalation, soft jaw and deep release of the pelvis sort of all happens simultaneously. You can let the shoulders go as you exhale. Softness gradually spread throughout the body. Very gently, very easily. You're going to bring a little bit of movement through your toes and through your feet. So you can just give the toes a little wiggle. Or you can push out through the heels or even circle the feet around. Just get a little bit of a stretch. If you haven't already, just gently bending your knees. Set your feet to the floor for a moment, resting your lower back there. And you might decide to stay here, or you might decide to hug your knees onto the chest. Let the eye pillow on your eyes. Gently take it away. Have a little yawn, have a little stretch, and then make your way to seated when you feel ready. Sit wherever your hips will let loose, wherever you're comfortable. Bring them down. Bring them slow breath in. And slow breath in. And I was like, what are we gonna do today? Don't know. It's gonna be horrible.